Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope we are all doing very, very well. It's Saturday night. What a great day. What a great day. I don't know what you guys have been up to. I've had a busy day. I've had a very, very busy day. I'm pretty tired. But this was going to happen. And this is going to happen. It's going to be a regular thing. And may this be the first of many episodes that we've got on the channel previewing different games. I think, to be honest with you, just doing live shows, everyone does it now. And I thought to myself, we had that 2-week break. Why are we not doing any of these live shows? I always thought that maybe the best way to do things is just do pre-recorded videos. But actually, there is a reason everyone goes live, because you can actually speak to people directly. I can see what the chat's saying. And I just think it's a little bit more, it's just a bit nicer. There's only so much I can get across in 10 minutes. And when I go on a live, I've got an hour, sometimes longer. So it's just a lot easier, isn't it? And I feel like as a viewer as well, if I didn't know what someone meant in 10 minutes, if they had an hour to then explain that and answer questions directly, that's what I prefer, because I watch a few lives myself. So yeah, let me know what you think. But yeah, we'd like to go live more on the channel. And to be honest with you, I'd like to go live multiple times a day, ideally 3, if I'm totally honest, because I just think that, like, I have a very flexible job. And I don't work a 9 to 5. I work weird hours. I work in the evenings a lot of the time. So I'll start in the afternoon and I'll finish sort of in the evening at like 9-10 o'clock. So the day is great for me. And then I'm happy to do a late stream as well. Like, it doesn't really bother me. Like today, I'll work 6 hours. Who works on a Saturday? But it has to be done, doesn't it? Somebody's got to do it. And I like working. I enjoy it. So yeah, that is one thing I'm very lucky about. My lifestyle seems to fit very well into sort of YouTube. And maybe that's on purpose. I guess your life is whatever you want to make of it. But I'm happy. And I hope that we can do many more of these streams, guys. If you're in the chat, say hello. Big up to Hazard Supercast watching from Lagos, Nigeria. Big up to you as well, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Big up to Zach. Good to see you, my friend. And EOR, take your time with it. Absolutely. Well, bloody hell, we've got enough time. That's why I like these lives. But yeah, we're going to cover the Liverpool game. I've invited a few people as well to jump on from the channel. So if they want to jump on, they can. This probably will be a panel conversation as well. But we'll see who jumps on, eh? We'll see what happens. Yeah, we're going to get straight into it. We're going to go over everything that's happened since last night. Now, what I did on the show yesterday, we spoke about Thomas Tuchel, the fact that he's trying to steal not one member of staff, but 2 members of staff from Chelsea. He's looking to raid Chelsea with Hilario, and the head of performance analysis, James Melbourne, are 2 big targets for him. And he already did that once before with Bayern Munich, taking our set piece coach. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head. And how did that end up? I don't know if that particular set piece coach wanted to stay at Bayern Munich, but for me, it's a bit of a risk going and working with the FA when Tuchel's only on an 18-month deal. And then what? What happens if he doesn't extend that? Are you just going to stay with the FA? So if you want that and you're looking at it from the England job itself, it's brilliant. But if you're just looking at it from the perspective of working with your mate Thomas, and fair play, people are supposed to have good relationships. I guess they've worked together, they've won trophies. Why wouldn't you have a good relationship? But I do think it's a risky move taking that England job. If you want to be consistently coaching at the highest level, how can you guarantee that in international football? Like, can anyone tell me in the chat how many games Thomas Tuchel's going to play, providing that he got into the last stage of every tournament he took part in? That would include the Nations League, the World Cup, and then any other additional matches on top of that. I don't even know if we have friendlies. Nations League is just glorified friendlies. So let me know about that. There's also an update regarding the commercial side of Chelsea. Chelsea have trademarked a new emblem to celebrate turning 120 years old in March. The badge will not change. Chelsea have also applied to trademark Chelsea and the Chelsea. Now, for those of you wondering what that looks like, that badge, I'm going to show you very briefly now. Here it is. So we've trademarked this emblem, and that's how we're celebrating 120 years, which is an amazing achievement, to be fair. I mean, that's a long time, guys. But for me, I think we need to worry about what's on the pitch as well. But things are getting better. Things are improving. We can all agree with that. And absolutely, Hazard, we want to try and have some positive energy going into this game tomorrow. I'm going to be going in the car with Charlie, Darmesh, and my girlfriend Rachel. So we're going to be driving up. It's probably 4-hour journey, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling very confident. I think that we are coming into this game at a good time. And speaking of which, speaking of timing, little Benny, how we doing, man?
What's happening, buddy? You right? Good?
I'm all right, buddy. If you turn are you on your phone, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Which way
do I turn your phone? It's a little bit easier for everyone else because they can see. That's it. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just at my auntie's at the moment, so I'm just in like a spare room. So, yeah.
No, thanks for coming on, bro. Honestly, we're previewing the Liverpool game, so feel free to hang around for as long as you want. I know you didn't do the watch along for the last game, did you?
No, not for the last game, no. So I'm doing it tomorrow. Yeah.
You're doing it tomorrow. We've got a full house tomorrow, if I'm not wrong. We've got you, Cam, Scott, and another guy, brand new guy. I don't think you've met him, but I met him a couple of times. Cam calls him MGK, but he's got great ball knowledge. So
Ken was saying that he's not a bad bloke. So yeah,
he does a lot of non-league. So he's not following. He doesn't. It's weird, mate. He'd rather watch a League Two match than a Premier League match.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. I went to the Reading game with a friend today.
Oh, you did go to the Reading game?
Yeah, I went. Trying to get a better angle. Anyway, I've never done the thing on my phone. Normally I use a computer, but anyway.
Yeah, man, computer's a lot easier, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally right next to Reading, but I couldn't because I've been working. Basically, I start work at 8:30, and then I finish at like 3:30.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been a bit busy, and then I ended up fucking leaving my tickets. I had to drive and go and get them, and I was meant to go and get it ages ago. So we've been chasing around. We watched a little bit of the Arsenal game. I wanted to watch the whole game, but I only caught the first half. I haven't seen the goals, Benny.
I was. So my uncle's an Arsenal fan, so he went up to the game. So, but he said they straight away when they started. I didn't see the first 10 minutes, but straight away apparently when they started, they looked off.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, apparently they weren't in it. They were just really.
Well, I mean, I saw the first sort of 35, 40 minutes. They're just, I don't know, like they weren't really winning second balls. They were quite deep. I feel like they did try and press, but they just didn't really have any quality at the end of it. I was looking at them and I thought to myself, like Havertz, I thought he looks quite sharp generally for Arsenal, but he looked crap. He looked terrible, which made me smile. And then I saw Sterling as well, did absolutely nothing. He's crap. He's rubbish. And you know what? This goes back to what I was saying, Benny. I said this when we got rid of him. We have saved 100 grand a week. We have saved it. Doesn't matter that we are still paying the majority of that salary. He is criminally bad. He's rubbish.
Do you remember? Do you remember the chat after the Brighton game? Remember when I said, "Oh, everyone got angry when we got rid of Sterling"? Rah rah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know, man. He just looks the same.
So bad, Benny. And you know what, mate? Every player that we've signed has been an upgrade on Sterling. If you look at who we've got, you brought in Sancho, that's an upgrade. You brought in Felix, that's an upgrade. Even if you would have just kept Mudryk there, that's an upgrade. It's useless. And also, like, people can say whatever they want, yeah, and that's fine. Sterling's won things. He's experienced. He's an older player. When you are on 300 grand a week, he's on over that 325. It is not just about putting in good performances. It's about putting in great performances.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy never does it. He never does it.
No,
I mean, he had a couple of decent games for it. Decent. But I never looked at the guy and went, wow, he's a world beater. He's worth paying for. Like, what? I never understood why we signed him. I never understood why we signed him. And I think we're going to struggle to get rid of him, Benny, to be totally honest with you. I mean, who's going to cover the salaries? It's going to be the Saudis, but I don't think he wants to leave London because his family's based here. So what, is he just going to sit on the bench the whole time?
Yeah, that's going to be, I think that might be an issue. But just a quick one. How long are you staying on for? You're going to be on for a bit?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll be on.
Cool. I might jump back on. Just a quick one. Yeah, so I'll be there tomorrow. Yeah. I might jump back on if I've got time. I'll jump back on. Yeah.
How long are you off for? Because I'll probably be on for. Well, we'll see. Give or take how it goes.
Yeah.
But
cool. All right. Sweet. All right. Speak soon.
All right, buddy. See you.
Okay.
He's struggling a little.
Hang on. Hang on.
He's struggling a little bit there.
Yeah, that's all right. Now I'll leave now.
Oh, I love Benny. He's good fun. If you don't watch the watch-alongs, Benny is a good character on there. So check out the watch-along tomorrow. That'll be a good one. We've got a full house. I think, we've got good ball knowledge tomorrow. And do you know, it's just a lot easier, isn't it, when there's 4 people doing a watch-along? I mean, I've done it myself with one other person. I have tried them on my own years ago, and it's impossible. How the hell does someone speak for 3.5 hours with no one else to talk to? I know you talk to the chat and that, but it's a little bit different. Well, actually, his name is Lil Benny, so I'll put it in the chat. That's what we call him. That's what we call him. We call him Lil Benny. But you just call him Benny. I have no idea how you spell it. I think it's actually Bene. But yeah, listen. Let's crack on to let's get back on track, because we were talking about the football. So yes, what else? Enzo Maresca obviously saying that he's assessing Ben Chilwell ahead of the Liverpool game. Reece James is available for selection. There is a 100% chance that he will be playing under Maresca relatively soon. We don't know if that's going to be against Liverpool. I don't think it will. But he'll be playing once a week for the foreseeable future, just like Wesley Fofana. You've got certain players and their body just cannot hold they just can't compete at this level 2 times a week or more. It's either it's a week, once a week, they need a full rest, full recovery. Otherwise, they're going to get injured again. So, yeah, I think there's also been some rumours about Reece James leaving Chelsea, which, according to Fabrizio Romano, are not true. Enzo Maresca is very happy with his leadership into the group, and the club are not working on selling him. Chelsea's focus is to get Reece James back on the pitch and performing as soon as possible. So, there's the update on Reece James. Now, what we're going to go through in this one, I want to see if we can go through our predicted 11 for tomorrow. What do we think's going to happen, and what's actually going to happen? Which are 2 things that well, when it comes to certain managers, especially over the last couple of years, you don't really know what's going to happen. So, yeah, we start in goal. Robert Sanchez. We all know that Robert Sanchez is going to start in goal. Me personally, I had no idea why Maresca went with this guy. But in fairness to him, I think his trust is actually coming through a little bit. And we are seeing a player who enjoys the trust and appreciates the trust. And some players, you have your ups and downs, but if you stick by them, they reward you by just because they feel that confidence because you give them that. And I think that Robert Sanchez is going to reward Enzo Maresca because he's taken a big gamble, hasn't he? Defensively, we have some really good players, but we've still lacked defensively. So why is that? And I do think Robert Sanchez is part of the reason, but he's also had some great moments. So we can't pin all the blame on him. I think Fofana's been a little bit sloppy. We've obviously been trying to shimmy players together that didn't necessarily start together last season under Poch. Look at Levi Colwill, for example, playing as left back. Now he's playing in his preferred central position. Fofana injured the majority of last season. So these are players that didn't necessarily get to play together with Cucurella, with Malagusto. And you're just looking for a bit of chemistry, a bit of partnership. And I think that slowly but surely we will see that happen. And this is where we can take a lot of faith and a lot of hope from this team is we haven't struggled to score goals whatsoever. So as soon as we crack that code defensively, we're in a fantastic position. We're going to be looking right at the top of the table and competing with anyone, really, because a small tweak makes a big difference. And in fairness to Maresca, he has already made a lot of tweaks from what Pochettino did. He has a stronger squad and a more mature squad because, let's face it, a lot of the new signings we brought in didn't know what it was like to play in English football, had never played in English football, certainly hadn't played at the level Chelsea require every week, and didn't know how to win consistently, especially playing a certain brand of football, right? So a lot of pressures on these players that they would have never had in their whole careers. Cole Palmer being one of those players, right, who never started for Man City in the Premier League and certainly didn't get any consistent runs with the team because he was always in behind Fofana. You got Nicholas Jackson as well. The list goes on. And you have to credit the management and how they've dealt with this. I'm not just talking about Maresca, I'm talking about the previous regime because tactically you can say whatever you want about Pochettino, and I'm certainly I don't think that he was the best tactical coach in the world. I can agree with all of you on that. And me and Lewis, we've had a lot of debates on this issue. But what he did do is he molded these players into a position where mentally they were in a good space. I don't think that Maresca walks in like he is now and is able to do what he's doing now with what Poch had last season. But I think that what Poch did is built the foundations for a team that wanted to fight for each other and compete. And then you look at the tactical side and you can make some real adjustments and add that quality and build on it. So, yeah, Maresca's really fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The adjustments he's made, they've just made such a difference, haven't they? Right, let's look at the player profiles. I'll share my screen with you now. So, Robert Sanchez in goal. We've discussed that. Yeah, for me, he's not going to be starting in the Europa League competitions or the second squad at all this season. I just don't see it happening. And even if he makes a mistake, Enzo Maresca said, these are the mistakes that are going to happen when you want to play the type of football we're trying to play. So he's literally saying it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, not just to the player. He's saying that in the press as well. So that tells me there's a strong argument that you won't see any rotation like we saw last season in the goalkeeping position. Obviously, Robert Sanchez started under Poch, and then Petrovic came in because we didn't really have that reliability under Sanchez, but also the system didn't benefit him either because it's just so much freedom. It's like, what do I do with it? Do I go long? Do I go short? Right now, we've got that clarity, and he's got that structure to be able to play a certain brand of football and focus specifically on that. Cucurella on the left-hand side. I think most of you will agree with me on this. For me, I think there's a strong argument to say he's been one of the best, if not the best, left back in the league. And I know that doesn't match in terms of clean sheets, but look at his individual performances, and he's just grown so much into this team. He was our most improved player alongside Nicholas Jackson last season for me. From where Cucurella was and where he is, it's unbelievable. That is a player that is worth the money we paid for. And he's just a pest, isn't he? He's just an absolute pest. Everything that he does, it's like if you were playing against Cucurella, you would say, fuck this guy. I don't want anything to do with him. But when you've got him on your team, he's an absolute unit. Charlie, my friend, how are we doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, all good. What's happening?
Thanks for jumping on, buddy.
Oh, all good, bro. No worries.
Yeah, we're literally going through who we think is going to be starting against.
Well, it's definitely not him.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God, Charlie! I'm such an idiot. Right.
Yeah, bro, it's not him. Wouldn't waste time speaking about him, mate.
Charlie saved me there. I wasn't reading the comments, to be fair. I don't know if the comments have said. Right. Vega. Let's rewind. But actually, just to go back on Cucurella, can we not agree that he's been arguably the best left back in the league?
He's been very good. I'm struggling to really think of any other left backs right off the top of my head. But yeah, no, mate, bro, he's been good. He has been good. But Vega coming in, I'm not saying it's a benefit to us, but it could be useful in terms of he's taller than Cucurella. He's probably a bit more physical. Certainly in both boxes with his height, that's gonna that should be of benefit to us in terms of attacking and defending set pieces. And Salah has got the better of Cucurella the last few times he's come up against him. No shame in that. Salah, top player. Maybe Vega might be able to do something a little bit different. I don't know, but it's not ideal. But he made his debut for Portugal in the week. I don't think this is a huge disaster. And the way that Vega's played this season, he's done really well. This will be a massive test for him, but yeah, I think he can step up to the task.
I mean, where do you see the main difference between a player like Vega and Cucurella? Like, what is it between them that you say, right? Like, I look at, for example, Madueke and Sancho on the left, and you can see there's clear difference. Like, forget form and everything like that, just the way they play, their style. Do you see a big difference with Vega and Cucurella?
Obviously, Cucurella more experienced. I think he's obviously much better inverting into midfield. He's probably a bit more tenacious. He's probably better on the ball. But look, Cucurella's got what, 4 or 5 years older than Vega. He's got a lot more experience. Let's not forget, Vega was done 1 season in the Swiss League, and now he's playing in the Premier League. Like no one had really heard of this guy until we signed him. None of us had heard of him. So yeah, he's going to be a bit behind. It's going to take time, but he's going to be one of them really useful. He's going to be one of them really useful players for us over the course of the season. You need these kind of players that can fill multiple roles. You can play centre. We've seen him play centre back this season. He played in midfield against Bournemouth. Can play left back. So yeah, I think he can step up to the task. It's going to be difficult. And look, if he has a bad game, it doesn't mean that he's crap. It's just one of those things, isn't it? But I think he can step up to it.
Yeah. How are you doing, Scott? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be here. Yeah, not doing too bad.
We're talking about Vega and Cucurella. To be fair, Charlie just saved me because I don't know why. I mean, I've literally had like 2 beers, so it's not like but yeah, I was going on a tangent about why Cucurella should be starting. And then Charlie came in and was like, Alex, you might want to think about that. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on Vega? I think it's a pretty obvious decision he's going to play.
Yeah, no, I think he's been good so far. He's someone I was aware of when he first joined, only because of Football Manager, I'll be honest. But no, I think he's exceeded all expectations. so far this season, and that's kind of interesting to say considering he only cost 10 million. But no, he's been good. I think tomorrow he should be good to play. I think some of the aspects of his game are going to gel better in the team, because I think he's going to be the one inverting into midfield, which I think means that he won't be, which I think is better. So I think that his aggression will be quite good to see against Gravenberch and whoever plays in midfield. I heard McAllister might be out, so I don't know. But no, I've been thoroughly impressed since he's joined, and I think he'll have a good game tomorrow. I think as long as he just doesn't be too rash, because I think that's the only negative we can say about him so far, is he is a bit aggressive, over aggressive at times, which against the likes of Salah can hurt you. But as long as he doesn't do that, I think we'll be fine. And I think we're lucky in the sense that we've got him, we've got Tosin who can come in for the guys that are suspended. We're not in a position that we might have been in, a few years ago where these guys get suspended and the guys replacing them are so much worse.
I'm with you. No, I think it's a pretty obvious one, to be fair. And I really like Vega. I think it just gives you a little bit of stability and almost reminds. I'm trying to think of a player who reminds me of. No one off the top of my head, but I feel like he's a player you could just count on. I don't know if it's a bit early to say Aspilicueta, but
I'd say the only reason I say Aspi is not necessarily the level of player. It's more what you said. It's more I think so far we've seen a level of stability and a level of consistency in the few appearances he's had, similar to how Aspi had when he first joined. Obviously, Aspi was a bit of a different quality, but he was also an unknown when he first joined, and he was playing out of position initially as a left back. And he came in and he didn't light the place on fire, but he showed a level of consistency, where it's like you were like, okay, number one, he kept Felipe Luis out of the team, who just come off the back of winning a La Liga. And number two is like, cool, like, I've got no issues with him. Like, he's not as good as Cole, but it didn't matter.
I'm with you. Well, so we got Vega on the left, and I think this is probably what we're going to see as well next to him. Any disagreements there?
No.
I mean, Levi Colwill, for me, I look at this guy and I defended Poch for a lot of things. You can't defend that. Playing him as a left back I never understood it. And couple of games in, playing in his new position, he is by far the best centre back that we have at Chelsea. Undroppable in that back line for me. I know that he's had moments where you can question maybe he could have done a little bit better. We conceded that goal with Haaland. I think he got sandwiched. And there's been one or two other moments, but his ability on the ball is unbelievable. And I think defensively he's getting better. But most importantly, he's got this character that is so hard to find in a modern day player. I mean, Charlie, you've been to the training ground. I don't know if you had the chance to speak with Colwill. When I went down there, I spoke with all the players, or tried to at least. And out of all of them, you could just, when you just feel like someone's got this energy and it's contagious. For me, he had that in abundance. And I think that he's a future Chelsea captain material. His mentality.
Well, he's already captained us last season, didn't he? Man United away, he captained us. Yeah. He's definitely shown signs this season that he's growing into a leadership role, and we need that at the back because we haven't replaced those qualities that we lost with Thiago Silva. We haven't really replaced them. So, yeah, he's maturing as a player. He's obviously excelling in his role at the moment. There's a lot of improvements still. He's only 21 years old. He can definitely get a lot better. His passing is brilliant. He's displayed his range of passing on a number of occasions. And yeah, mate, he's had a really solid start to the season. So yeah, we've got someone on the books that, is definitely, in my opinion, a future regular England international. He's definitely making a strong claim to be a regular starter for England in the back line. And yeah, mate, you can't, there's no complaints about him. I think he's been really good this season, and hopefully tomorrow will be another big test for him. Hopefully he can rise to the occasion and, put in another good performance like he has done for most of the season.
100%. I mean, Scott, where do you stand on it?
No, I agree with a lot with what Charlie said. I think if he continues with the trajectory he's on, obviously there's a couple of things he has to get out of his game. The aggression, I like in spurts, like him losing his head every game needs to stop. But I think that will come with time, as we mentioned, he's only 21. But the thing that I like about him so far, something you touched on, is that his defending is getting better. And he had a few shaky moments at the start in pre-season first game, but we've seen with defenders at this club that sometimes they'll have some bad games and they'll lose their heads. Like, it will go downhill quickly. But he seems to have flipped it around. Same with Fofana. And I think Maresca certainly helped with that. But I think it's good to see that these guys, even though they had a bad start and they had some moments that they looked shaky, they've turned it around and now starting to show most of us they could be. I mean, this is the Colwill I was expecting last season, and obviously for factors that were partly down to him and mostly not. He didn't show this. But we're starting to see it this season, and I hope it continues. I think, as you mentioned, I think he is the guaranteed starter at centre-back now. I think the partnership is as it has been, but I think that Tosin could end up having a case, but it's always going to be Colwill plus one other. And I think that's really good to see. And I think it helps then when you have moments where Tosin has to come in or Disasi has to come in or whoever has to come in. If you've got one guy who's there all the time, it makes it a lot easier. It's not you're changing the partnership every game. You're having like a different back four every other game because you're not sure what your best back four is. We had that last season and it did not help. This season it's been completely different, and you're seeing it now.
100%. Just Kevin, I do have an account, but I just didn't log in. I'm just on the website. All right, so I'm not a plastic. Don't worry. But yeah, for me, it's pretty basic, isn't it? We all know that Colwell's going to be starting, and then we got the second role. Now I've been raving about this guy since.
No, this is your guy.
This is my guy. I love Tosin, mate. I love him. Do you know what? I think that I don't know. We're going to speak about this contract news that came out recently as well. I don't know what to think about it. The reason, according to whichever article it was, that Tosin rejected Newcastle over Chelsea was because they refused to include a clause that allowed him to leave for Barcelona or Real Madrid. I don't know if I'm calling bluff on that or not, but it's a pretty unique. I've never heard of something like that for a player.
To be honest, mate, let's be real. Barcelona and Real Madrid are never signing this guy, so it don't really matter.
Yeah,
like
he could be unbelievable.
Well, they're not signing.
That's not happening ever.
It's never happening. There's more chance of me being signed by Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. He's confident. I mean, that's something. But I tell you, I'm very confident about this guy. And I think that Tosin, I think if you build a team around anyone, we just said that Colwell's a no-brainer. I think that Tosin's a no-brainer. I really, really do. No, I do. Ahead of Fofana, 100%.
Oh, bro,
I mean, I've made this guy.
Are we really doing this?
I actually agree with Alex on this in the sense of
no,
Scott.
Not in the sense of not in the sense of I think we need to build
weird. I'm about to leave.
I think so far from what we've seen of both of them, we've seen better from Tosin than we have with Fofana, but I think it's also a smaller sample size.
But also, think of it like this. If I said to you right now, based on what you've seen in both of their careers, who's going to last a season? Why would you build a team around a player who can't last a season?
I know we're not talking about building a team, but Fofana is like for me.
He's a good player.
If he's fully fit and he's playing his best, he's miles better than Tosin.
That I agree with. At their peak, Fofana's miles better. The problem is we haven't seen that.
That is also fair. But one thing I do think that Tosin will help with tomorrow, right, is we lack height and physicality in our back line, right? In both boxes, defending and attacking set pieces, having his height there is going to be, and Vega as well, by the way, that's going to be an added plus for us because the likes of Van Dijk, Kanate, etc., big lads, Gravenberch is big as well in the midfield. Like to have a couple of taller guys on the pitch, a bit more physicality, is going to help us out. And that's where I think Tosin could be a bonus for us tomorrow.
Well, 100%. I mean, we're not going to sit with a low block. I can't see that happening.
I don't think so.
But I
No,
think
but we might
we
might sit a
look
bit deep.
down.
We might sit slightly deeper than we may have done in other games this season potentially because it is Anfield. But I don't imagine us completely abandoning tactics and literally sitting on the edge of the 6-yard box. I don't see us doing that.
Yeah, and especially with regards to set pieces, I don't know if you saw the stat yesterday. I saw it on Pies' channel. I can't see it off the top of my head, but I think we're 18th in the league in terms of aerial dual win
I
percentage.
saw that as well. Yeah,
And Liverpool are first. They've got
No, we're not good in the air.
win ratio, and we've got a 45%, which is 20% less. So, I mean, that's an area that you look at, and I can't actually say Tossen's better than Fofana necessarily. I mean, he's certainly taller, but Fofana does get up to aerial balls very well. But I mean, it's good to have a bit of height in there, and we need to try and cause some problems in terms of set pieces. But I don't think that's entirely to do with the players in the box. I think that sometimes you just need a decent ball in, and we can never do that.
Yeah, if we could beat the first man, it would be helpful, wouldn't it? You know, it's no point having this set piece coach and working on all these routines if you can't even get it into the box in the first place.
Can you imagine though, if that is what you have spent your whole coaching career to get to this point? This is all you do. You strategize set pieces. You set the team up, and it gets to a match day, and you don't get a single ball past the first man. Can you imagine how frustrating that must be? I couldn't. I'd walk out, mate. I'd walk out. Willian, Mount, and now we've got to deal with this. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just overreacting a little bit, but we need some good balls in the box. And I'd love it. Toasted in the 91st minute at Anfield in the cop end. I'm here for it. But yeah, so I think that's a fairly simple choice. Then we go on to the right-hand side. Now, it seems like Reece James is available. Is that correct?
He's never starting this game.
yeah. Apparently he's fit, but I'm not starting him.
So he'll be on the bench then. Gusto on the right-hand side. Just a quick one. Do you think that James gets a run out in this game, even if he's not starting?
So I think it'll be depending on the circumstances of how the game's going. Like if we're, God forbid, we're getting hammered, they might put him on. Or if we hopefully are in a winning position, then we might look to put him on. But if the game's close and it's pretty tight, he's not played for ages. I don't know if he'll risk it, and I reckon he's probably more likely to just save him for Panathinaikos on Thursday.
Do you know what? The more I think about it, I could actually see him playing regardless, because like it depends. I understand. I'm kind of with you, Charlie, in terms of the game start. I was, but it's like even if we're losing, if it's close, like if we're getting like blown out, then
he'll play.
I don't think he'll play. That's the only consideration. I don't think he'll play if we're getting blown out, because I don't think there's any worth bringing him on when he hasn't played for him, because Liverpool being confidence. But if it's tight and it's like we need to maybe shore up the defense a bit, or you just want him to be able to get crosses in, then it's Reece. Like at the end of the day, even if he hasn't played for ages, and we know what he's like when he comes back.
You could give him 15 minutes.
That's what I'm thinking. Like even if we're like close, even if we're losing by like one goal, but it's close, I could see him come on.
Yeah, I think it's circumstances will dictate. There's definitely a chance, but if I had to pick between this and Panathinaikos, I'd say it's more likely he would get minutes against Panathinaikos. But we could see him tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it depends how stringent Maresca is with this whole once a week. In terms of players can play only one game per week, and that's for Fofana and James. Does that include if they have an appearance off the bench?
Yeah, I don't know if he means like full 90s or how many minutes. Because like you could play twice a week, but he might just play 1 minute in each game. He's saying he can't do that. So it depends. I guess it depends on what the threshold is for the amount of minutes.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure, but I reckon Maresca will be quite stringent. I think even if it's a 20-minute run out, we probably won't see him again in midweek. So, and this also comes back to another debate. I think we spoke about this on your channel, Charlie, about whether Reece James's role in this team involves inverting, or if we're going to look to utilize him how we've always done, further up the pitch, or even deeper as almost like a centre-back role. I mean, where do you see Reece James fitting into the system? Because we did see a little bit of him in pre-season trying to invert. It's not really much to judge on because I think the whole team played crap in pre-season. But I mean, where do you think he fits in once he is fully available?
Look, I think we'll see. I think we will see him invert at times. But I also think what will suit him well is a left back inverting, and then out of possession he can drop into a back three as a right centre back. Like he's played right centre back a few times before in a 3 under Tuchel. I think it suits him quite well. And then, like when we're in possession, when we're out of possession, I think he can just do what he normally does. Get up and down the pitch. But I don't think we should expect that straight away. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to get into it. But I think we're going to see a variety of different roles for him. That right centre back. In possession, obviously, out of possession, and then you've got the other options where he can get out of the pitch, and he can also invert into midfield. So I think we'll see a combination of the three of them, but we just got to keep the expectations real low and not really expect anything of him for a good few games whilst he kind of gets himself back up to speed.
I mean, that's if we can get a few games out of him, but there you go. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. Where do you stand on it, Scott?
In an ideal world for me, I think it's hard because, like, before we signed Neto, I would have the mindset of, like, if everyone's fit with Reece, I'd play him as the right winger, whatever, in possession, and have Palmer as the starting as a right mid, but comes in as one of the 10s, and that way you don't have Enzo anywhere near that front line. But with Neto now coming in, he hopefully eventually will probably start on that right wing. Because if he doesn't, then for me, at some point, questions have to be asked of why we spent 60 million on someone to hold bench. But yeah, I think to start with, I'd have him as the centre back in possession in a 3 to save his legs, get him back up to speed, get him more used to the system, everything. But yeah, as time goes on, I don't know, maybe invert. But the problem I always have with the inverting from either Gusto or Reece is we've already seen Cucurella do it and do it successfully. So for me, I'm always hesitant to change that if that's working.
I suppose it's nice to keep people guessing though, because you could do it on one side.
Potentially. I think it also then maybe depends on who we're playing. Because, like, for example, I think it's like Liverpool, for example. Even though what I said about Vega earlier is true, I think he will be inverting into midfield, and he's probably who I'd prefer. I could also completely understand if they didn't have him invert because they've got Salah on the right side, so you'd want a left centre back / left back there, who then doesn't have to drop, if that makes sense. So they're kind of always in that position to defend Salah should he get the ball. Okay, but then if we have someone who's like, say we play Tottenham with Son, you're going to want the right centre back to be the one not inverting, or right back, sorry, not to invert in that situation, so then they can get to Son more easier, and they're not out of position as much.
Okay, so we're going with Vega inverting and then Gusto.
I mean, there's a chance that he might not invert anyone. There's been a few games this season where no one's inverted, so there's also that possibility as well.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Let us know what you guys think of the chat as well. Who do we invert? Does Reece James get any minutes as well? Now, for me, this is probably the biggest debate out of the whole team. Now, I know where I stand on this, but I want to know where you stand, guys. Let's just focus on Enzo Fernandez. Does he start against Liverpool?
He will start.
Yes.
He will. He will. Of course, he'll start. Like he's the captain at the moment. I'd be absolutely shocked if he didn't start.
Okay. Should he start?
No.
I can understand the conversations around whether he should. And if Lavia was fully fit and had more minutes under his belt, there's a lot stronger case to be made. But I think given the situation surrounding Lavia, I think there's more chance all 3 start than Enzo doesn't start.
Oh, all 3?
I think there's more chance of all 3 starting than Enzo starting, and there's pretty small chance all 3 start. So, like, we're being honest here. We all know Enzo's starting tomorrow. And we all know he's starting, and we all know he's captain.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, I wouldn't start him.
We do. Well, unless he like wakes up ill or he injures himself on the way to Liverpool, he's captaining the team tomorrow and he's starting. We know this.
Me personally, I go with Lavia and Caicedo. And if I'm going to give a player, that 8 role, I give it to Caicedo, and Lavia's a little bit deeper. But at least I know I've got legs and defensive stability. Both can retain the ball. I mean, I want to try and control that Liverpool midfield. So we're looking at 50-50 battles. Those two are both better than Enzo Fernandez. Passing range, I think we can agree Fernandez is better. But also, if you're playing him in a deeper, in a role further up the pitch, he's not in a position to be able to capitalize on that because he's not orchestrating the way we play. So if we played Fernandez deeper, like, I'm all for it. But then I know why we don't, because he's not good enough defensively. So for me, I think you get a lot more stability with Lavia and Caicedo. And then people talk about creativity. We've got fucking Palmer, mate. We've got Palmer, Sancho, Jackson. I think they're okay. I really do.
I'd like to see what a Caicedo Lavia midfield's like. But if we're being honest, away at Liverpool is not the time to be testing it out.
Why? Like, that's a really solid defensive.
But Lavia's not played enough.
Defend in these games.
Isn't played enough football. Like, if you're going to test things out, which it is still very much a test playing Lavia and Caicedo together. How many times they played together? Once, the first game of the season, and that's it. For me to be testing that, I say, like, obviously Lavia is a very good player. And I'm sure they can play together and they'll be good. But to kind of slightly experiment with that, for want of a better word, in a massive game away at Anfield, I don't think that's the game for it. I'll be honest. But I do think Lavia will play because he didn't come off the bench against Forest. He's not in the Conference League squad, so he's not going to play on Thursday. So if he doesn't play at all tomorrow, then it's another week until he's got the chance to potentially play again. So I'd expect him to play some part, but I'd be surprised if he started. And if he does start, I think it would be with Fernandez and Caicedo.
So if we're starting the 3 of them, who are we dropping?
Well, you probably lose Madueke and you have Palmer on the right, which is a reason why I wouldn't start all 3, because the benefit you get from the extra midfielder doesn't outweigh moving Palmer to the right-hand side where he's less effective.
What do you think, Scott?
I agree with that last bit. I don't think playing all 3 works. I just in general in this team, I don't think having all 3 midfielders start at the same time works in any game we play, unless you are going to drop Palmer, which is never going to happen because of what you lose in attack. I agree with Charlie. It's not even just that Palmer's on the right-hand side. I still think he can work there. But it's more than he's going to want to drift inside. He's not really a great 1v1 player at times. He doesn't really stretch the field, which I think Madueke does, and that helps in other ways. But on the midfield, I think Enzo will start. I wouldn't start him. I would start Lavia for a few reasons. Number one, I think he is better defensively. I don't think Enzo's that bad defensively. I just think Lavia is better. And the thing I would like about Caicedo in that situation, if he was kind of the roaming 8, what you want to call it, is you could then get him to kind of focus on Gravenberch. Whereas I think with Enzo starting, it's going to end up being his job to focus on Gravenberch. And I think that's in terms of physicality, that's a horrible matchup in there. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. As we said, I think we all expect Enzo to start. And I just hope he performs, how he did at Anfield last season, and then performed how he did against Brighton and West Ham this season. But yeah, we know what he can do. The annoying thing with Enzo is we know what he can do. Like, we've seen it. But then we don't know what Enzo we're going to get every week. And that's just really frustrating. You can't really get that from a £100 million player.
This is the thing. And I for me, is that reliability defensively. Like, I don't doubt what he can do on the ball. I don't doubt that. And if you play him as a 6, I think that he is fantastic. I mean, he played his best football there under Potter. But what he has, which is so good, he lacks on the other side. And for me, I mean, I'd like to see him start as a 6, to be fair. I think it's worth trying. I mean, if you're going to be that persistent with the guy and continue that partnership with Caicedo. I think Caicedo is capable of playing further up the pitch. He's not a goal scorer, but he can score. He's not a playmaker, but he can pass, and he's generally quite positive when he does it. And he's got the legs to run and catch players when they try and break as well. So I'm not opposed to that. But from what I saw from Lavia, and it's only a small snippet, maybe you could even compare my comparison to what we were speaking about with Tosin and Fofana. I think that Lavia's looked really good. And I haven't seen a game and thought, why wouldn't he start? Yeah, maybe you can look at the chemistry as a whole and say, you know, we need this in the team, and we won't get that if we play all three midfielders. But I mean, if I'm just looking at Lavia as a player on his own, I don't see why he doesn't get into this squad. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Go on. Go ahead, Joe.
No, go on, mate.
I say I understand. I said I would start Lavia. I think it's just a case of, as Charlie said, he hasn't played a lot of minutes, and Enzo is the captain, and like he is ultimately like when he's on his best, he is crucial to how we play at times. And I think we've seen. I agree with you, but with the sixth thing, by the way, like as I said, I think he's good defensively. He's not Makelele or Kante, absolutely not. But I think we saw last season under Poch, his best performances were when he was playing as a six. There were times when Caicedo had to come out and he went in the six, and he was good. Under Potter, he played six and was good. And it's like, I think was it West Ham in that game? There were times he wasn't pushing up anywhere near as much. He was playing almost like dual sixes at times with him and Caicedo, and he looked really good.
I mean, when Enzo Fernandez came in, though, he was a direct replacement for Jorginho, and that's the role he likes to play.
And he was looking really good. And the thing like with Caicedo as well, as I agree, is with Enzo, it's not even necessarily that he's bad defensively. It's that when we lose the ball, and we inevitably do, because you're not going to keep the ball 100% of the time unless you're Manchester City. When we lose the ball, he hasn't got the recovery pace or the ability to recover to then get back in position. So then he's out of position more often than not when we do lose the ball, if we lose the ball high up. Whereas with Caicedo, he can recover. He has got that ability to like get back, to get into position, to make a recovery challenge. And so you can then afford him to be further up the pitch rather than Enzo. So I would like to see that swap. It won't happen because it hasn't so far, and I don't see why it would. But yeah, that's a swap I'd like to see. But as I said, I just want to see more from Enzo. I want to see the Enzo that we saw when he first joined, and that he was at Argentina and Benfica.
Yeah, I think at least he deserves the chance to prove that maybe that number 6 position is his, because, well, they've obviously seen what he's doing on the training pitch, but I think it'd be good to see in the league, even in the bloody hell. I'd see him in against Panathinaikos, for example. Why not test it out against a team like that? So he's more than capable of retaining the ball. I don't think that we're going to see sloppy passes, him giving the ball away. But that's not the issue. It's what he does when we don't have the ball. But yeah, I mean, certainly a debate that a lot of fans are going to have. I know where Matty Dav stands on this issue, but I think maybe there's a little bit of bias there. But yeah, so what are we going with, guys? Are we going with
Caicedo plays and Enzo plays?
So we're going with Caicedo and Fernandez, yeah.
That's what we'll play, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we work our way a little bit further up the pitch. Let's go on the left-hand side. We got Madueke, who actually had a pretty decent spell with Ukraine. He scored a goal. I didn't actually watch any of the games, but from what I hear, he played quite well. And then we've also got Jadon Sancho.
I'm 99% certain it'll be Sancho, but Mudryk's an interesting option potentially because he's improved over the last few games. The cameo against Forest, he was decent. He's had a good break with Ukraine, and there's a part of me that thinks maybe there's a small chance he might start purely based on the fact that the fullbacks for Liverpool, whether it's Robertson or Tsimikas or whoever it's going to end up being, they get forward a lot and they leave space in behind. And I'm just wondering whether Mudryk's pace getting in behind could be decent. Like Mudryk getting in behind Trent with the space that Trent will leave going forwards. And Trent's actually been decent defensively this season, despite what people say about his defensive qualities. but there will be space left there. Maybe Mudryk's pace and that could be an interesting option. I'm not saying it would happen, but it's definitely an interesting option to have. And I think it's one that will definitely be used from the bench. But I would expect Sancho to continue on that left side, given how well he's done since he's joined.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Mudryk, he certainly likes playing at Anfield. He had a great debut there. He just needed the goal to make it perfect. It's hard to drop Sancho, though, isn't it?
I don't think Sancho will be dropped, but it's a good option for us to have, though. Mudryk from the bench could be a real important part of the game.
What do you think, Scott?
I mean this with all due respect to Mudryk. There should be no league game this season that he starts, in my mind. Like
No
not
league
a single one. Not a single one he starts. Because for me, unless Sancho is injured or suspended, and even if he is, I'd honestly play Neto out there before him. Like I just wouldn't start him, because there's still, despite how good he has been performing recently, like things have picked up, he still lacks so many things in his game for him to be able to start games. I think he works better as a super sub at the moment. I think he works, like we saw it against what was the game he came on and he had that cross for Nkunku?
Forest.
We saw it against Forest. Like,
great impact. He had a lovely impact in that game.
When teams are tiring and players are tiring and space is a bit more open, that's when he can really use his abilities. Like he can use the pace, he can use things like that to get at players. Start of games, when it's a lot more cagey, it's a lot more kind of tactical, especially against like a Liverpool. For me, those are the games where you then have to rely on him to have his decision making is a lot more important. You know, it's, can he link up with this player well? Can he find the gap in the defense to slot that pass through? Can he open up space? And time and again, so far with Mudryk, we've shown that he can't. And until I can see that more consistently, and
why do you think that is?
To paraphrase Enzo Maresca, it's just Misha. It's just I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know at this point. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I'm not using the young argument really, because I think he's either 23 or 24 this season, and so to me, like that's the start of when I should see you. Not final form, obviously, but I should start to see you round out a little bit as a player. And we're not seeing that. At least if we are, then to me, there's not a lot there at the moment. And yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know how much you can coach this sort of stuff. The comments we've heard from Maresca haven't been great all the time about Mudryk. So it's hard. But I honestly don't know what it is. But as I said, like I'm not starting him. He's someone I bring on, especially if it is a tight game and Trent is obviously going to play the whole game. I think he is anyway. If it's a tight game and he starts getting leggy, then Mudryk's going to be even more important off the bench. But yeah, there's no way he starts this game for me.
I mean, he's just getting coached. I mean, that's the way I see it. I don't think that his technical ability has improved. I'll
be honest,
a bit more about where he needs to go. I mean, that's why I think against Nottingham Forest, he made an impact, because the amount of games I've seen him play, and I think, like Charlie, you were at Everton away last season, right? When he was against Ashley Young. And I thought,
mate, he done him.
Why are you not running? Why? And I just think this is so obvious, but he doesn't know it.
Alex, that's the thing for me. Like I think I've said this about Mudryk since he's come in. I have no issue with his technique. He's actually like got decent technique as a player. Like his pace, he can't really use well. Like he's got a lot of pace, he just doesn't always know how to use it. But he's got a good pass on him. Like he's got a good shot on him. Like he can hit the ball well. His ball striking's good. His decision making is what lets him down like 9 times out of 10.
That has improved recently though. That's got over the last few games. That has got better.
I agree, it's improved, but to me, it hasn't improved to the level where I can say, okay, here's a run of games. That's fair. That's why I say for me right now, until I see otherwise, for him, he either needs to do that in sub appearances or in the Conference League. Until I see that, there's no reason why Sancho should come out of this team, especially as you mentioned, Charlie, with how well he's playing.
Yeah, no,
against Forest, even though
he's playing well. He's playing well. Like he definitely. Look, I'd be surprised if he didn't start, but it's just kind of a thought. And I think Mudryk will definitely. I'd be very surprised if Mudryk didn't come off the bench tomorrow.
I mean, it's quite an interesting comment as well. Mudryk's best games has been him drifting into a 10 like Palmer. I think I've only seen him play one game as a 10, which was against Leeds last season. And he's done
a couple. He's done a few.
What other games?
He hasn't played as like an actual 10, but I see what you mean. Like he just drifts inside. You know how Palmer was last
centrally.
Palmer would start right mid and then would drift inside, like at times. It's the same thing, and I understand what he means. Again, the problem with Mudryk comes down to then he'll have games where he can do that, and then he'll have games. I think it was against cfctvyt where he was doing that, but he would drift inside into a crowd about players and would have no idea what to do. And then that's always been his issue. And like I think, as you said, Alex, it's just going to come down to coaching. It's just I don't know how long that's going to take.
Yeah, I'm with you. So we're going with Sancho instead of Mudryk then. That seems like a no-brainer for most people. I'm with you on that, to be fair. Although he's got the pace, so maybe Mudryk coming off the bench. Cole Palmer, that's a no-brainer. Is he going to be the man that wins us this game, or have we got to look a little bit deeper than Palmer? Because there's a good chance that they'll try and keep him out specifically, knowing that he's our danger man.
No, I don't. I think Palmer just go and do this. Just go and do the same as what you've been doing. Liverpool will definitely try and do a job on him. I think Gravenberch will be the guy that's probably mainly tasked with trying to contain him. But yeah, it feels like these are the games that you need Palmer to step up in. Palmer's stepped up for us more often than not during his time at the club, and there's no reason why he can't step up in this game. But yeah, the key for him is going to be to impose himself on the game early doors. Let him know that I'm here. This is what I'm about. If the longer the game drifts on and Palmer's not really had much of an impact, the less likely it will be that he might make an impact. So what he really needs to do is kind of make an impact early doors and get a hold on the game early on. But I think he can definitely impact this game. And whilst the supporting cast have definitely stepped up a bit more so far this season, and we're certainly not as reliant as we were on Palmer last season, there's still that inevitability that he is the main guy, regardless of other guys stepping up. So we do still kind of need him to do something potentially.
Yeah. What do you think, Scott?
I agree. I think I kind of and it's insane how he's performed. Like he's not even been as good as last season, I don't think, and yet we're sitting here with him, already scoring 4 goals, I think it was this season, getting 3 assists in a game, being as influential as he can be, and I still think there's more to give. That he's just insane. Like he has played insane this season. I don't have enough good things to say about him. Like he's been incredible.
I mean, he obviously played on the right under Poch, and he's playing as a 10 under Maresca. What do you think the fundamental differences that we've seen with that change of position? I mean, how has that impacted what he can do for the team?
Just
what he does?
Gets on the ball more. It suits his game better. He gets on the ball more. He's not getting in anyone's way. If he drifts in from the right, he potentially gets in the way of other players. Centrally suits him perfectly. Just gets him on the ball more. It's kind of as simple as that, really. Anywhere where you can get Palmer on the ball more is going to be effective. And so, yeah, him in that central position is absolutely ideal.
I think as well, being in the 10, he strikes me as more of a creator this season than a goal scorer. And he's just making other players around him better. Whereas almost when he was on the right last time, it was just fucking hell, let's give it to Palmer, quite literally. He's got to come and bail us out, but much more link up from what we're seeing at the moment. I mean, the chemistry between him and Jackson, we've obviously seen that, and there's going to be plenty more of it. Do you think there should be any flexibility in terms of his positioning, Scott, or is that 10 his to stay for the rest of his Chelsea career?
I think it's his to stay, and as I said, even if it was to change for whatever reason, say he was to move out to the right, the only reason for me why that would ever happen is if Reece comes back and you do the thing I said earlier, where Reece is the wide player and he can still drift into the 10 anyway. But yeah, he has been incredible this season. As I said, I think he's made that number 10 his position. And I think it's just because he is able to do so many things. I mean, we've seen this season, he's able to pick the ball up in deeper positions. He's able to drive with it a bit more. I actually think even though he's getting on the ball more, what's been interesting this season is I think he's been asked to do less. And I think that's because of the system and also other players around him, like stepping up a little bit. I think so much of the time last season was, as we said, it's kind of just give it to Palmer and he'll do something. And so you kind of expected him to be the catalyst for everything. Whereas this season, even though he is still kind of being a catalyst for a lot of things, that's not the expectation all the time, I think. Yeah. And then he'll just end up turning up. Like what's been fascinating for me is I think there's still a level to go. And he's had games like Wolves where first half I thought he was not very good. In fact, I thought he was one of our worst players, I think, in that first half. Second half, he comes out and gets a hat-trick of assists. And it's just okay, cool. It's fair enough then. I can't say anything at that point. Even if I thought you might have been bad that first half, it's okay, you got a hat-trick of assists. It is what it is.
Yeah, the guy.
He's just that kind of player.
Can we agree he's world class? Right now, he's world class.
Oh, yeah, right
I'll
now.
Go one further.
He's performing to a world class.
He's just a solidified world class player. I mean, I say right now.
I'll go one further. He is that England award he got was deserved. He is England's best player right now.
Yeah.
The best English
I would
player.
agree. Yeah, I would agree.
How far away is he from Ballon d'Or?
Oh, steady on.
Hang on a second.
I was going to say the only reason he isn't in the conversation. Is because of us. If he played for a better team than Chelsea and still got the same level of performance, he's in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
I think at some point in the future he could definitely be a future winner. But yeah, he's got to do it for a few more seasons before I think that's a serious possibility.
Fair enough. Let me know. Let us know in the comments as well, guys. Cole Palmer for Ballon d'Or, is that a serious? Imagine this: we get top 4, win the Conference League, maybe a domestic trophy as well, an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. So we've got a few trophies to back it up. And Cole Palmer has an unbelievable season. Let's just say he matches what he did last season, maybe something along those lines. Is that good enough? Probably not. But I mean, whereabouts does that rank him in terms?
It depends what everyone else does.
I'll say it again. I think you can even go this year. Take where we finished out of it. I don't think there's a single player on the planet that performed to a better level than he did last season. In terms of just performances. No, I don't think Bellingham wasn't as good. I don't care that he's got the golden boot. He was playing for a Real Madrid team, and you can see this season he's playing deeper. He's being asked to do more rather than just get into the box and score, and he looks shit. Not Vinicius, not Mbappe, none of them. The only person I think who comes close to the only 2 players are Kane and Haaland. And even then, most of the time for those two, it's just goals. I think in terms of actual performances, I don't think anyone came close last season. Or, for this year. Fair
enough. I think I'm with you, Scott, man. I think that there's a genuine possibility. I think that we have a player, with Hazard, right? I mean, he's so different to Palmer. You knew he was a magician, but you can see it with Palmer, but the end product is so good. Were you there at the Man United game, Charlie? Yeah, you were there, weren't you? And Scott, you must have watched that game, right? When we won 4-3.
Yeah.
For a player to do what he did as many times as he did last season, carrying us on his shoulders, dragging us, we were so bad. And for him to do what he did, unbelievable. So I do think that there's a real conversation to be had. And maybe I'm getting carried away when I say Hazard comparisons. I mean, totally different type of player, but the impact that he has and the importance that he has to this team is very much on par, especially at this moment in time. Right. Let's move on up top. We'll look at the right wing and then we'll go striker and we'll wrap it up.
Right, It'll be Madueke for me. Like
Madueke?
the team's playing well. We're doing well. Madueke's done well. Got the goal against Forest last time. He's got 4 goals this season. I know there was conversations, but kind of before the Forest game, because he had a couple of not so great games away at West Ham and at home to Brighton, where you could have maybe put Neto in, but Maresca's stuck by him, and that faith was kind of rewarded with the goal against Forest. And for me, there's not really a reason to switch it up. I don't think Madueke's been bad enough, or Neto's been good enough either to sort of warrant a switch. So I would stick with Madueke. But look, I'm happy with either player starting, but my preference would be to stick with Madueke. I don't see a need to change that. I think his defensive work rate has been very underrated. He works hard. I think that's definitely something that he's improved upon this season. So yeah, for me, I'm leaving him in.
Do you agree with that, Scott?
I agree. I think I'm in the same boat as Charlie in terms of like I don't think I think the only time that you could have put Neto in it for Madueke and I would have been completely fine with it, or I would have agreed with it, would have been the Forest game, because I thought Neto. My thing with Neto up until this point is, as Charlie said, I don't think he's been good enough so far outside of Barrow, and then that's I was going to say them. I completely forgot who we played in the Conference League. Them. Until we played them, I was like, for me, he doesn't warrant a start. That Genk game, or Gen, I can't remember which one we played. That game for me was the turning point of like, okay, this is starting to see the Neto I expected. Now he should start. And then Madueke played against Forest, was good and got the goal. So yeah, again for me, I think you need to build on that. I think with a lot of these young players, taking him out after a performance like that is silly to me. So I think he should start, and I think. I think he's one of the players I've been really impressed with this season in terms of the level of improvement, not just on the defensive side, as Charlie mentioned. I think his willingness to use his weaker foot more, I think, is good to see. His chemistry with the rest of the front 4 has been really good to see, whether that be Sancho, Jackson, Palmer. It looks obviously he had that from the under 23s, but certainly with Jackson and Sancho, he seems to have clicked instantly with those two. And so yeah, I think he's improving leaps and bounds, and I think this notion as well that he's selfish is just nonsense. And yeah, I think he should start, and then kind of just see as we go. As I said, until Neto proves to me that he should start, until I see a performance good enough that I go, okay, he should start no matter what, Madueke should continue in this team.
I mean, I don't think that Neto could have done much more in the games that he played. I mean, he got goals, and I think that shows that you can produce.
I think it's more an impact in what he does in his minutes in the Premier League. Right. I know you don't get much. You might not get much chance, but you just got to make the most of it. Just do something to sort of give Maresca a thought. Because look, obviously, your opportunities in the cup, absolutely perform well. That puts pressure on, sure. But I think what we're really looking at is what you do in the league.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing, because like he had a really good game against Barrow. It's Barrow, no disrespect. And outside of that, he had a good performance against Ghent.
You're supposed to, and he did. Like that's the
no,
whole point.
I know, but those games he played. But I'm saying in the league, when we've seen him in the league so far, outside of Wolves, where Madueke scored a hat trick and outperformed everyone else in the team,
then he's not been amazing.
Yeah, he's not been amazing. Like he comes on, he looks okay. Like he doesn't look bad. I don't think Charlie's saying that. I'm not certainly saying he's not bad.
He doesn't look bad.
He doesn't.
He's got enough.
Yeah, it's like it's almost the same position Mudrik's in. Like you have to come on and show me something in the 30 minutes or whatever you're going to get to go, okay, you deserve to start. And so far, outside of the Ghent game for me, he hasn't shown that.
Enzo, one of the best right wingers in the league. Am I reading that?
You are.
Must be a mistake.
I was going to say, did you mean to say Neto or Noni?
I was like, Brentford last season? Maybe not. Fair enough. So Madueke will be in agreement with him. I mean, in terms of, we just talked about selflessness and not being selfish. What about his defensive work for the team, Madueke?
Yeah, really good.
So you're happy with that?
Yeah, mate, it's massively improved. Colwill said in an interview the other day that you know, all the wide players work really hard defensively, but I think he specifically singled out Madueke. Like he works hard for the teammate. It's something you definitely notice, and something that's definitely improved from his game compared to last season.
Yeah, I agree. To be fair, this is the one positive I'll give Poch is his defensive work I wouldn't even necessarily has improved this season because I think it improved last season. I think last season we started to see it like when he came in towards the back end of the season that it really started to improve, and we saw that he was helping Gusto a lot more than James when he played infrequently. And so I think that's one thing we actually started to see from Poch last season is that he actually improved Madueke's defensive capabilities. We saw that with Mudryk as well. And then I think what that in itself has allowed this season has allowed Maresca to still build on that, but then help him improve the stuff in attack where it's like the chemistry stuff, the link up play, using your weak foot and things like that.
Fair enough. Okay. We move on to the final piece of the puzzle. Is there a debate or is it pretty standard decision? I mean, we've got two players in there, and Nkunku and Jackson.
There's no debate for me.
No debate. No.
Which way are we going?
No.
Nico.
Jackson.
Jackson as well, Scott?
Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
That video is so funny.
Yeah, no, it's no debate for me. Like he offers so much more to the team. It's as simple as that. You know, if I'm Van Dijk and Konate, I would rather play against Nkunku because everything's going to be in front of them. Whereas Jackson's running in behind, he's running channels, he's pulling defenders out of position, creating space for others. Like the only caveat I'd say is if in the big games where the chances might be slightly less, if you want a chance to fall to someone, you'd rather it fall to Nkunku because he's more clinical than Jackson. But overall, in terms of what's being offered to the team, it's not even a conversation for me at the moment. Jackson offers so much more to the team.
And do you think he causes, in this particular type of game, you think Jackson causes more issues for Liverpool than Nkunku?
I think so. With his pace, it's going to cause more issues, absolutely.
Because we just spoke about on for the chances you are going to get, you'd rather have Nkunku. I don't necessarily know if, I mean, this could go one of two ways. It's either going to be a very high-scoring game, which, to be fair, I think it probably will be, or we go down to we've seen a few 0-0s at Anfield, some really boring games, and that's the kind of game where I'd rather have a player like Nkunku, where I know he might only get one chance, but he's definitely going to take it more so than Nicholas Jackson. I mean, look at last season, for example. He come on, he was the only player to make an impact scoring a goal. I know it's not the best example, but that's another way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's good to have that. It's good to have that option from the bench. But there's a reason
from the bench.
There's a reason why he started 1 out of 7 Premier League games. Doesn't bring enough to the team. It's as simple as that.
That's brutal.
No, it's not. It's just I like him.
French internationals, mate. He's arguably the best international team in the world, or one of them.
Mate. He's a good player, but right now, for how this team plays and for what he's doing, Jackson offers much more than Nkunku does. And you know, it's great to have both of them. They're both in good form, but like for me, Nkunku right now is better off the bench.
Wow. Do you agree with that, Scott?
I do. And it's not even like I think Nkunku's a bad player. It's just
absolutely not. I don't think that either, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did. It's more.
Go, Scott. Go.
Also, I think Jackson just offers his all-round game. I think is better in terms of dealing with centre backs. I think that's the thing that I think people don't give Jackson credit for. I don't think last season, to my memory, there was a single centre-back partnership that he didn't cause problems in terms of he didn't make them think, he didn't make them work. Like, outside of maybe the Arsenal centre-back duo, and I still think he gave them a good game, I don't remember a single game where he struggled against a centre-back partnership. And so, yeah, like we saw it last season, he still gave Van Dijk, and I think it was Konate, whoever Van Dijk played with last season, I don't remember, problems. And so I think he's going to be the best player. I also think as well, the thing with Nkunku against this centre-back partnership in particular is I think they are going to be very physical. And I think they're going to get tight to him, especially Konate. And then in that situation, you're asking him to hold up the ball, use like what physicality he's got, which isn't really his strong suit. And at that point, you're relying on people kind of making runs off him or linking up with him. But yeah, I think Jackson just offers a bit more. I also think he's in form. Again, it's kind of the same with the Madueke thing. I think until Jackson gives you a reason to drop him, and I think we've only really seen one game this season where he's done that. For me, he should start. Like, I don't see any reason why you drop Jackson.
No, I'm not saying Jackson deserves to be dropped. Absolutely not. I just I look at this game and I think if it is a game which is a high scoring game, then it's going to be open. I think that's going to suit Nico down to the ground, right? He's going to have a lot of spaces to run into, and he's going to make life easier for the players around him. There's no doubt that Palmer likes playing with him, and the players around him enjoy what he brings to the team because of the runs he makes and the positions he gets himself into. My only thing would be, if it is one of those games that goes down to the wire, then you do want Nkunku on the pitch. But then it isn't a bad point just saying bring him on from the bench, because he did make an impact last season that way. So yeah, I mean, it is fair. I probably would agree actually that Jackson does start this game. But I mean, if you're Nkunku right now, you've signed for Chelsea on big money. Last season, it was a bit of a write-off, let's be honest, because of his injury. But you think, right, I'm going to be the man. In his head, presumably, he thinks that because he's a top player. And you're being dropped ahead of Nicholas Jackson. I mean, how do you feel as a player if you're Nkunku?
It's not gone to plan. He was obviously, when he signed, everyone thought he was going to be the main guy. I'm sure he probably thought that as well. But him being injured for pretty much the whole of last season changed the plans a little bit, and now he's got to force his way back in. But there's plenty of time on his side. But my only concern would be, it's obviously Felix and Palmer as the 10s. My only concern would be if we'd signed Osimhen this summer, what would have happened to Nkunku? Maybe we don't sign Felix, but then the Osimhen thing was going to deadline day anyway, so we would have had Felix as well. So what I'm saying is, what happens if we signed Osimhen? What happens to Nkunku? Because the club believe in Jackson and Osimhen would play. So where does that leave Nkunku?
I think that Felix wouldn't have played.
But I was going to say, I think we may not have got Sancho. I think Felix maybe would have become the left winger.
Yeah. But if we do bring a striker in going forwards, what does that mean for Nkunku? That means, for me personally, he's probably done, which is a ridiculous thing to be thinking. But like that is what I see as a potential outcome. If another striker comes in, where does that leave Nkunku? People, Mudryk might be more likely to leave, sure, but what you're going to then say that Nkunku is just going to be shoved on the left wing as a backup to Sancho? No. So I think, I don't say he's got a problem, but if a striker comes in, there are big question marks around Nkunku's future.
I think
go on.
I think for me with the Nkunku thing, I think it's a few factors. I actually think the biggest factor in all of this is Cole Palmer. I think that's the biggest factor in all of this, because I think going into this season, I think all of us expected the front four to look like Jackson up top, a left winger of some description. I don't think any of us expected Mudryk to start or be in that position, but a left winger of some description, Palmer on the right, and Nkunku in the 10. Like, that's how I envisioned it at the start of the season. It's
mad though. Like, if Nkunku didn't get injured in pre-season last season, there's a possibility we wouldn't have even signed Palmer, potentially. I'm not saying we definitely would have done, but there's a possibility we may not have signed him.
But I think we would have done anyway, because I think he was meant to be our right winger signing.
Yeah. I
think it's just ended up being like happy happenstance that he's like ended up becoming our number 10, because he's just like, we saw it for those that kind of watched him before he came to Chelsea. I think at City he played a number of positions. I think he played all across the front three and in central midfield for City in the limited time he played. But yeah, it's kind of happenstance that he's come here and turned into a 10. I think that's one of the things I think Palmer's taken that position has been so good. I was thinking a little bit is the system in terms of, as we mentioned, Palmer can't really be that right winger in the system because he doesn't offer the width.
He's not a Madueke. He always his first thought is to drift inside.
Yeah, I also think then on top of that, the form of Jackson at the start of the season, I think if Jackson had started worse, we'd have seen more of Nkunku. Because I think didn't Nkunku start? I think Nkunku started the season.
Well,
Didn't
the pressure was on Jackson at West Ham.
Nkunku started the City game, and then that's the only game he started in the league.
Yeah. So I think if Jackson hadn't have started as he had, I think we would have seen Nkunku more. And then ultimately, again, it's the same as the Neto thing for me. Nkunku just hasn't shown enough. Like, if I'm in Nkunku's position, like, yeah, I can be mad,
Really
but ultimately,
hard, that's so hard.
Like, is it? Like,
It's not
I
hard.
don't.
In terms of in terms of the Premier League minutes, all right, he got the winner at Bournemouth, great. But in terms of
it's literally the game that Jackson couldn't score. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that was good from him, and he played well in that game, and he took the chance, and that's great. But can we really say, in the Premier League, in the minutes he's played, has he done anything to warrant putting Jackson on the bench? No, he hasn't.
He hasn't been given enough minutes to prove that.
No, but he should have scored against Forest. That would have been a good start. You have to score that.
He should have, but he at least he tested the keeper. I mean, actually, when we look back at that,
he tested the keeper. Is that what we're praising people for now?
Well, fucking hell! I mean, João Felix
a point blank header.
Get it on target.
Yeah.
I know, like both of them should score, but I think the thing is like I agree with Charlie in terms of like at the end of the day, if Nicholas Jackson is keeping you out of this team, and you're meant to be this quality player, that's an issue. Like, for me, it's kind of similar to Neto, as I said. If we've signed you for 60 million and you're as good as we think you are with what we've seen from Wolves, and Madueke is keeping you out of this team, right now it's fine. If we're saying this halfway through the season, that's a problem to me. Not necessarily of the team and whole and us signing players. It's just on that particular player. Like, if Nkunku gets pissed, to me, he's got no one to get pissed at apart from himself right now.
It's got to do more
like, yeah, if we go a period of time, let's say, I hope this doesn't happen. Let's say Jackson has a period of 5 games where he doesn't perform and still starts. At that point, I'll be like, okay, yeah, now Nkunku needs some time. But up until that happens, Jackson shouldn't be dropped. Like, he has no reason to be dropped. Forest was his worst performance of the season for me.
Yeah, he was anonymous in that game. I don't know what happened to him, but
yeah,
otherwise he's been decent.
Yeah, otherwise he's been good. Like, even Bournemouth, I thought he was good. He just missed a couple of chances. Like, and so outside of like that Forest game, that's what 6 games he's played well, for me at least. Let's say 5 if you want to include Bournemouth. that's still a good return. And so, as it's in a similar position as I said to Madueke and Neto, it's like until Jackson gives you a reason to go, you can't start now, and Nkunku is given a chance, or until Nkunku goes, like, say he comes on against Liverpool and scores a hat-trick, then yeah, cool, we can start the next game. I haven't seen that yet.
I mean, I just want to show you guys this. So I'm with you to an extent. I mean, I am with you because I agree that Jackson probably should be starting the majority of games ahead of Nkunku. I just think it's harsh to say that Nkunku hasn't performed when he's been given chances.
No, I didn't say he hasn't performed when given chances. He's performed in the Cup. I'm talking about the Premier League this season. And I know it's limited minutes, but when you're second choice to someone, those limited minutes really matter. And other than Bournemouth, in the league, he's not really done anything.
So he's had 127 minutes and he scored 1 goal. And he's only had 1 start and he's come off the bench 6 times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know I don't know if he wasn't performing in the Cup, then I don't even think this is a debate. But I think because he's been that good in the Cup, you know, Jackson scored bloody 2 and then he scored a hat-trick and Palmer scored 4. Yeah, I think that's great competition for people. So I do feel like he should be given more of an opportunity. Again, I'm not highlighting that we start Nkunku ahead of Jackson for this particular game. I think that we could probably agree that Jackson is better suited against Liverpool, especially when there's more space to run into. But let's just say we're playing. I mean, how many fixtures have we got? I mean, we've got Panathinaikos. I think he'll definitely start in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see a lot of Nkunku this season.
Yeah, we've got Newcastle in the Cup away coming up.
100%.
That'll be a really good test.
There's going to be plenty of times to see him.
So I don't think it's disrespectful to say that you know, we're going to see more of Jackson in the league and Nkunku in the Cup competitions, because actually in a lot of ways we're certainly not competing to win the league. I think we're going to be looking for silverware in a lot of those other competitions. But yeah, it's just interesting breaking it down, seeing what both their qualities bring to the table, and reading the chat as well. I mean, some people think that Nkunku does have the qualities that we've said he doesn't have with regards to hold-up play and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like his hold-up play is good. I just think Jackson's is better.
His hold-up play improves so much in the box.
Oh, that's also. I just want to quickly go back and say I want to take back something I said about Nkunku and in terms of him not performing, because I've just seen the minutes he's played in the league. Yeah, fair enough. Like, I actually, outside
127 minutes. That's
not even. I'll be honest. It's not even that. Like, you take out the City game, he played 7 minutes versus Wolves, 4 minutes versus Palace, 11 minutes versus Bournemouth, 26 versus West Ham, 11 versus Brighton, and 9 versus Forest. Like, yeah, fair enough. Like that's fair enough. But I then think it still comes down to the fact that Jackson and Palmer are just playing as well as they have been. And unfortunately, those are the two positions that he can play in.
Yeah, and the link up between the pairs decent as well.
Yeah, 100%. Chemistry is important. I don't think we can dispute that. Right, before we wrap it up, guys, let's get your score predictions.
I'm going to go 2-2.
Who scores?
Let's go Palmer and Jackson.
Any penalties?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. Scott?
I'm just going to go fully with my heart. Don't care. I'm saying 3-0 Chelsea.
Fuck it now.
I mean, that would be some turn up for the books, wouldn't it?
Bro, that's just what I want. I want us to blow them out of the water.
I mean, I can see us scoring 3, but I definitely don't see
not conceding. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe 3-1. But yeah, I just want us to blow them out. As I said, this is completely with my heart. Like, I don't expect this to happen. I just want it to happen. Like, I just want it to happen.
Palmer hat trick?
No, I want Madueke, Jackson, and Sancho.
I'm going 3-2. 3-2. I think that we go into this game looking good, and then we almost bottle it towards the end. Do you remember when?
So you're predicting us to lose?
No. 3-2 for us.
Oh, 3-2 for us, yeah.
Charlie, mate. I'm optimistic, absolutely. But I think that's a realistic scoreline. I think we're playing them at a great time. I think that Liverpool, like any team, after the international break, you're always going to look a bit sloppy. But I'd rather this game's at Anfield than at the Bridge, because at the Bridge we have to win. At Anfield, if we win, it's just a bonus. I mean, our record there is so poor. Is it 1 in 9?
Yeah, 1 win in the last 9 trips there.
So, and that wasn't even with fans, mate. Everyone's wearing COVID masks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's realistic. I think that we can certainly cause some problems. I see a penalty in there. There's always a bloody penalty. I see a penalty in there. I see counter-attacking from Chelsea's side, and I see mistakes as well. I see someone fucking up, and we almost dropped the points, but in the end, we managed to round it out 3-2. So hopefully I'm right there. I mean, let's see what people are saying in the comments. Daniel says 2-2 draw. Interesting. Mason says Noni and Palmer 2-1 win. Shapanga says I'm going 4-2 Chelsea. Sancho's definitely going to score. I mean, listen, I hope that's the case, but we'll have to see what happens. But listen, guys, what
is Alisson still out?
Yeah, but Kelleher always plays well against us. So
I need I swear he had a mistake recently as well. I need another one.
That would be beautiful. That would be unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, generally, I think we're all feeling pretty confident. So first of all, boys, big up to you. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. We're going to do a lot more of these. I haven't even spoken about it with you guys, but basically, we're going to do a lot more lives because we never do lives. I don't know why Chelsea Fan TV never did lives. I don't know. Did we do lives like years ago before I was involved, or
maybe? I think so.
I don't remember any of it. So yeah, we're going to make this more of a regular thing, guys. If you like it, smash the thumbs up. I don't even know how many likes we're on, but let's see if we can get a couple hundred likes. Let's even get 200 likes on the video. Smash the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. Go and subscribe to Charlie. Charlie, where can they find you?
Yeah, Blueborough CFC, about 100 away from 13k. So yeah, if you want to help me get there,
That's pretty good.
Go and do it. Yeah, it's going all right,
Wait,
mate.
hang on
Yeah.
a second. You were on the road to 12k not long ago.
Yeah, mate, it's shot up over the last couple of weeks. Don't really know what's happened.
What, during the internationals?
Well, just over the yeah. I don't know why.
That's weird.
Mate, it's weird. Like it was going real slow, and then suddenly there's been quite a big burst recently. Probably slow down again soon, but yeah, whilst we're on the high, yeah, this is going okay.
Keep it going. And Scott, anything you want to shout out?
I'm going to be on the live stream tomorrow. On a watch along. That'll be fun. No, outside of that, just hopefully get a lot of people watching that. As Alex said, do more of these, and hopefully we get more people getting involved. And that's about it.
I didn't expect like a massive turnout, so I do appreciate everyone that come on. Daniel, we are at 40 people. What is going on? Guys?
That's poor.
Do you remember,
Fuck's
Charlie?
sake.
Do you remember when we was on your stream? I don't know. It was very. How can you watch and not put a thumbs up on the video?
That's
Hour and a half of sweat and tears.
Yeah, it's poor.
Nah, it's all right, guys. You don't have to like it, but we do appreciate if you do. So let's see if we can get up to 100. That would be brilliant, guys. Smash the like button. We're going to do plenty more of these, as well as morning shows and lunchtime shows. So if you're an early bird or if you're in another country, maybe the time zones will work out well. And
or if you're unemployed and you've got nothing better to do.
if you're unemployed. That's true. That is true. Although, listen, I reckon there's probably quite a few people working from home still listening.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely would if I was working from home.
Well, I do. Yeah, I do.
But yeah, listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. All the best, and we will see you very soon. Looking forward to the game tomorrow and up the Chelsea.